You have a better memory than I do.
Oh, I remember a handsome face.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. These items you described as white thread-like items in your notes, correct?
Yes.
Why do they look black? So they use an evidence envelope, don't they?
I don't know.
And it's labeled.
They use a paper bindle. In the envelope, what's the paper bindle?
All right.
Did you check on that?
So again, I get to ask the questions. I'm not
Okay.
under cross-examination. You are, Doctor.
Sure.
Okay?
I just want to get the fact out so everybody understands.
And I want you to answer my
I
question.
don't want people just accuse me.
Gentlemen, do you remember who the others were?
They all look alike to me. So.
Okay. I won't even touch that with a 10-foot pole.
You are mixed two together. Hold on a second. Let me help you sort it out.
Oh, I don't know that I need that much, Doctor.
You definitely need that. Here.
Dr. Lee, you indicated that you've had a little better than 40 years of experience working at crime scenes, and you've done some 6,000 different scenes in your experience, correct?
That's correct.
You've worked with Sarah Kaplan before.
Maybe once or twice before.
Do you remember what cases you worked with her on?
O.J. Simpson case. And another one is I think it's related to Weatherman, some type of a radical group.
Okay. And did you do crime scene investigation along with her or in association with her in those two cases that you've just talked about?
No.
You didn't do any crime scene investigation concerning the O.J. Simpson case?
I did, but she wasn't there.
Okay. Did you meet her after you had done your investigation on the O.J. Simpson case?
I met her in Bob Shapiro's office.
And that was after you had already been to the scene and made your conclusions, et cetera, and analysis?
I never reach a final conclusion until we always keep the mind open because it may have some new evidence come in.
Did you find Ms. Kaplan to be an experienced attorney?
Very nice attorney. I don't know what you mean experience in trial. I did not see her performance.
So you two did not work hand in hand in the O.J. Simpson case concerning either her position as a lawyer or your position as a crime scene analyst?
Not have direct connections.
Okay, but on this case, she was at the crime scene with you, correct?
I don't know. I just do my business. I have so many people there. I don't know. Probably Bob Shapiro asked them to be there.
Okay, I'm not asking.
No idea.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm not asking you who asked her to be there. I'm asking you if you remember that she was there.
She was there.
Okay. And did you two have any time to visit with one another? Did you all discuss anything or talk to each other?
Not really.
Okay. She was at the scene with Bob Shapiro?
Yeah, Bob Shapiro, Dr. Bodden, Michael Bodden.
Who else?
Some private detectives.
Do you remember their names?
I remember Stanley White now.
Okay. What about the other?
The other, I think a person called Pavlik.
Okay.
Have some other people.
Do you remember who the others were?
They all look alike to me. So.
Okay. I won't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. All right. Generally speaking, you talked about these 6,000 crime scenes that you've done. Dr. Lee, as a matter of protocol, do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes.
As a matter of procedure or protocol, is it important, I think you said under direct examination to Mr. Plord, is it important for a forensic criminalist working for the defense, someone with your level of experience, someone who teaches others how to do their job, someone who has a lot of experience themselves doing this type of work, that when in fact something of potential evidentiary value, potential evidence is collected, I think you said the first thing an experienced professional analyst, crime scene analyst would do is seek to turn that over to law enforcement, correct?
First thing I usually photograph that, document it before I do anything to show its originality. Then I collect, preserve it. Because if I don't collect it, so many people trapping in and out that may disappear. So I collect And that night, this particular evidence, I kept the position. I asked Attorney Shapiro, I say, where should we give it to? He said he going to contact DA or police or authority. That's the word, authority, then make a determination.
So in answer to my question, I wasn't actually asking you anything about this case. I was asking you, hypothetically speaking, someone in your position would know, for instance, that the important thing to do would ultimately, however you do it,
yes,
through the attorney or through yourself, whatever, ultimately get that piece of potential evidence over to the prosecution, correct?
Yes.
And therefore it would be important, Dr. Lee, to make sure that, in your words, you document where that item of evidence came from, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you would document it both photographically and probably in written form, is that right?
Right.
In your notes?
Yes.
And ultimately, if you're asked to memorialize your notes into a formal report, you would document it in your report as well.
Correct.
All of these things are normal protocol, correct?
Yes.
And you knew, in fact, Dr. Lee, that when you got that midnight call or whatever it was in the middle of the night asking you get on a plane and come out to Mr. Spector's residence, you knew that, in fact, you'd probably be visiting a scene of interest, a death scene of sorts, yes?
We don't know.
Well, did not Dr. Shapiro, I guess it'd be Mr. Shapiro, did Mr. Shapiro tell you that you would be flying out overnight and that he might have others there as well, but he was going to ask you to go to a death scene?
I don't believe that is privileged. He's discussed how he got there. Obviously, there are privileged considerations of privilege. We'll have to deal with that, isn't it? He may answer the question.
Okay. He asked me to check on Mr. Spector.
Okay. And so you knew that you were going to be coming out to California to perform your job. I mean, you were coming out to go to Disneyland, correct?
No.
Okay. You were coming out to do a job.
Yes.
As a forensic professional criminalist.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. What did you bring with you?
I bring usually my suitcase.
Other than a change of socks, what items?
My magnifying glass.
Okay.
Some testing reagent.
Okay.
Some tube of swab, tweezers, things like that. I don't bring because after 9/11, you can't bring knives and scissors and those stuff on the plane anymore.
But you can bring plastic bags. I mean, you have one with you.
That's what I'm bringing.
Okay.
Get back.
You bring plastic bags. You bring gloves. Yes?
Yes.
You bring tweezers with you.
Yes.
You bring the test tubes.
Right.
You bring the reagents.
Yes.
And some of those reagents include, I'm not sure I understood you, ethanol, phenolphthalein, and
Hydrogen peroxide.
hydrogen peroxide. All right, the stuff I put when I was a little kid on a little cut, right?
Yes.
And it would foam up.
Yeah. That's 3%.
All right, well, I had one chemistry class of
That's
All right.
wonderful. Wonderful.
So you brought those items with you knowing that those might be important if you were to visit the death scene, correct?
Yes.
All right. You also brought cameras?
Yes.
How many cameras?
2.
Why'd you bring 2 different cameras?
Because now everything start doing digital, so I bring digital camera.
So you brought a 35 millimeter SLR,
Yes.
and you also brought a digital SLR, I'm assuming.
Right.
Is that yes?
I don't know. It's a small digital.
Single lens reflex. In other words, could you
I
take
have
the lens?
no idea. I bought it. It's
Okay.
a Sony digital camera.
Okay. You set up what you described as a workstation once you got to that foyer area, correct?
Yes.
And you even had investigators go out and spend time and energy setting up sort of like Klieg lights, like big overhead lights,
Yes.
correct? I think that's KL, I don't know what it is, KLIEG.
I don't know what I kind of like this.
It was for the court reporter. You set the workstation up relatively close, I'm assuming, to where you're going to be conducting your analysis, because it's that much more important not to have to walk a long distance with a potential piece of evidence if you were to find such a piece of evidence, correct?
That's correct.
All right. When did you send the 2 thread-like objects and the carpet fiber, as well as the I think you said crumbled bloodstain? When did you send that to the prosecution or to the crime lab, the LA crime lab?
I think I don't have a, exact recollection, maybe last year or maybe this year.
Okay. So it was substantially after you had collected the items, correct?
Yes.
Is there a reason, Dr. Lee, that you waited almost 4 years to send those items to the crime lab in Los Angeles, given what you know as an expert forensic criminalist?
I'm waiting for instructions.
Okay, so you had to be specifically instructed by Bob Shapiro or Leslie Abramson or somebody else before you would turn those items over?
Who to send to?
Okay, did you know that the LA Crime Lab existed?
Yes, if I sent to them, they will say, why you sent to me?
Okay. Do you remember meeting me in February of 2006?
Yes, I did.
As a matter of fact, you and I had a nice conversation. We met at the LA Crime Lab, didn't we?
Excellent.
All right. And I asked you a couple of questions about your observations at the scene, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we were standing, I think, in a
coffee room.
Yeah, coffee room, cafeteria looking room, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have a better memory than I do.
Oh, I remember a handsome face.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. And I asked you at that time if you collected anything, and I think your answer to me was, I collected a white thread and no fingernail, correct?
Sure.
All right.
Exactly.
And do you remember me asking you, Dr. Lee, we need to get those items. I need to have those. You remember that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
You maybe ask, I don't remember.
Okay. And that was in February of 2006, correct?
Yes.
And would it refresh your recollection about the time frame that you actually sent those items as the following October of 2006?
Whoever asked me to send, where to send,
Okay.
I've been asked all from day one. Just tell me one person where I'm going to send.
Okay. And you've been asking that of whom?
I think the first lawyer is Bob Shapiro. Second lawyer is Abramson, Leslie Abramson.
Okay. And
And
who
the
else?
third, of course, the third set of lawyer,
Okay. And who did you talk to specifically? Third set of
set
lawyers?
of lawyers. I talked to Linda Baden,
Okay. And what was Miss Baden's response as to who to send these to?
sent to the LAPD, A Sheriff Department.
Is that an objection or no? All right, thank you.
When did Miss Baden tell you to send these
I
items?
don't remember.
Okay.
Just so many stuff I don't remember.
Okay.
The detail.
You didn't make a note of that.
No.
When you have a piece of evidence, Dr. Lee, and you've got it in your personal custody, do you think it's important to maintain some sort of a log to maintain a chain of custody? In other words, to document very clearly where that item is, who has possession of it, when it's sent to another party, things of that nature?
Okay, this particular item is kept in my file. I'm the only one have that. It's not a state police case, so did not enter it's not a state police case. Did not enter state police file. It's my personal consultation case.
Okay, I'm not sure that answers my
It's in
question.
my file. I'm the only one have the access of this file.
Okay, and I guess my question would be, if you're keeping a personal consultation file, just like you're keeping a state police file that you might be working on, is it still important to follow the same forensic procedures?
No, I don't think, every day I write it down, who call me. If I do that, I don't think I can accomplish anything anymore. I usually receive 200-300 phone calls
Okay.
a day.
So
I don't write it down.
Are you telling us that when you're handling a case for consultation for the defense and you're handling evidence, physical evidence, that you're less precise with your documentation than you would be if you were handling it for the state police?
No, you're totally wrong. It's precise. I photographed, I pick it up, put down my note, I seal it. That's precise. Nobody can say that's not precise.
What are you saying about your lack of documentation about where that item of evidence goes?
The item of evidence in my file, I've been telling you 3 times now, in my file, did not go to any place until recently said sent to LA Sheriff Department.
And Dr. Lee, what I've asked you 3 times now is, did you document that or did you
Why
not?
not to document? It's in my file. Do
Dr.
you
Lee?
document everything?
Dr. Lee, the interesting thing about our dialogue is this is the one time that I get to ask the questions and you have to answer them.
I already answered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you again.
Sure, go ahead.
Why is it that you don't document as precisely when you are dealing with a consultation case as you do with the state police case, Doctor?
State police, same thing. State police case, this is not a state police case. I don't document every conversation.
So your precision is a little sloppier when you're dealing with a consultation case for the defense than when you're dealing with the state police case.
I don't think that's not something to do with precision. The precision is, did you collect the evidence? Did you document the evidence? Did you seal the evidence? That's precision.
Okay.
If I write down every conversation who called me, that's nothing to do with precision.
Okay, let me ask you this. I'm not going to ask you about every conversation you had. Let me simply ask you, what was the exact date?
I can check
Let
my...
me finish my question.
Sure.
What was the exact date, Dr. Lee, that you sent the items of evidence that you finally sent to the crime lab?
Okay, Your Honor, I have a Federal Express...
Just answer his question.
I have a Federal Express mailing receipt. That's the precision date. I did not bring with me.
Do you have your file with you?
I have the file, but I don't keep this receipt in my file.
Why would you not keep an item that logs the movement of evidence in the same file?
That's my procedure.
All right. And your procedure differs from that of, for instance, the crime lab here in Los Angeles and the state police.
I don't know what their procedure. You ask them.
One of the important features of the collection of evidence, Dr. Lee, you would agree with me, is the collection and packaging of those items of evidence, correct?
Yes.
All right. In other words, me, just Joe Blow off the street, I don't know anything about collecting evidence, so I might walk up to this piece of paper and grab it with my hands and say, oh, that looks like evidence. Now I've just touched it and messed it up and gotten DNA on it or something. I've done it wrong, correct?
I think a lot of police done it wrong too.
Okay. Well, I'm not a police, and I'm not asking you to speculate about a lot of police. I'm asking you, are there certain procedures that an expert like yourself know have to be followed?
An expert, what we do, whatever we have under that condition, what we have. Ideally, of course, let's say you want to drive a car, you drive a Cadillac. But if I don't have a Cadillac, I only have a Honda, I drive Honda. If I don't have Honda, I have a bicycle, I ride on bicycle. You have to look at the situation, the best situation. I only have a sticker, memo stick, paper. That's why I use.
So you're anticipating my question, correct?
Of course I anticipate.
Yeah.
I call nitpicking that.
Because you know, well, you can call it what you want. I'm still going to ask the question.
Sure.
You know my question is going to be, how could you ever, knowing that you were going to a crime scene, how could you ever use this kind of Post-it note, Dr. Lee, to collect an item of forensic evidence or potential forensic evidence? Because that's what you did, isn't it?
There's no difference somebody use a white memo paper. It's same paper. It's all manufactured by the paper company. It's no differences. LA Sheriff Department use a memo pad paper. I use a sticker. What's the differences?
Actually, the Sheriff's Department uses an evidence envelope, don't they?
Evidence envelope, they made it themselves or paper company made it?
So they use an evidence envelope, don't they?
I don't know.
And it's labeled.
They use a paper bindle. In the envelope, what's the paper bindle?
All right.
Did you check on that?
So again, I get to ask the questions. I'm not
Okay.
under cross-examination. You are, Doctor.
Sure.
Okay?
I just want to get the fact out so everybody understands.
And I want you to answer my
I
question.
don't want people just accuse me.
Gentlemen, if you will, Doctor, allow the district attorney to answer the question, ask the question, and then you answer the question that he asked. Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Are you aware of whether or not the Sheriff's Department uses an actual evidence envelope that's marked and labeled as an evidence envelope?
Objection 352 in relevance to this hearing.
Overruled.
Are you aware of that?
Yes,
All right. Are you aware that the Connecticut State Police, the police that you work so closely with, shoulder to shoulder, uses pre-marked evidence envelopes to collect evidence officially?
Yes.
All right. Yet when you came to the crime scene, well, let me ask it this way. When you sent the LA Sheriff's Crime Lab the forensic evidence or potential evidence that you sent them, you sent it to them in a Post-it like this that was folded up like I'm folding it right now, and it was labeled in pencil, correct?
that's correct.
Not part of that same precision that you were talking about from the
No,
state
that's
police.
still nothing to do with precision.
Okay. So do you teach your students to use Post-it notes?
Objection 352.
Overruled.
I'll withdraw that.
All right.
I'll move on. One of the other important things, along with the proper procedure for collecting evidence, Dr. Lee, is photographing evidence, correct? I'd like you, if you wouldn't mind, Your Honor, I don't need to mark these. I think it's voluminous, but I would ask Dr. Lee to just take a quick glance at a series of photos. These are actually wonderful. May I approach, Lee?
You may.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm going to ask you to flip through those photographs and tell me if you recognize.
Yes.
Do you know when those photographs were taken and by whom?
That night by me.
All of the photographs.
I have to check that. You
wish
just
you-
tell me, flip it.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to ask you to take a closer look and tell me when those photographs were taken, if you can
I
tell.
don't remember.
Okay. Why don't you do me a favor and take a look at the photographs and tell me
I
if you
have to
can.
look at my negative. I have to verify each one. I took that night, all right? What time? I don't remember.
Okay. Dr. Lee, I'm going to ask you again. Are you confident? You just flip through them. You can take as much time as you want. The judge isn't going to put you on a time clock.
Yes, I took those photographs.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lee. And I'm sorry to make you flip through those prior notice. I thought you sort of had those in mind. Let me ask you a couple of questions about these photographs. All of these photographs were taken that night, according to you, yes?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Okay. Were there any photographs that you saw that you think were taken at a different time?
Probably same period of time.
Okay, so that either that night or going into the early morning hours of the next day.
Right.
Let me call it a visit. That visit to Mr. Spector's house in the foyer on or about February 4th, 2003, all of these pictures were taken at that time.
Some maybe for the package, maybe before I send it, I took it.
Okay, okay. And how many photographs? Well, I guess I might as well ask you about that right now. You came to court today with. Word is trying.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. When you say the items that you were sent by Stan White, is this what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, this is, Your Honor, for the record, I think this has been, I don't know what this has been.
It's a picture of the Macy's bag.
Thank you. It looks like 48.
48.
Okay. And is that the picture of what was in the Macy's bag?
Yes.
And that's, for the record, Your Honor, that's courts 50.
Okay.
Is that that picture is not in this set of photographs?
No.
Okay. Is this the only picture that you took of this item?
No.
Okay. What other pictures did you take of this item?
I took some close-up of this
Okay. And where are those pictures?
in the original package and give it to you.
In this package?
Yes.
And could you point me out which picture?
Probably that's right.
Okay. Your Honor, just for the court's edification, Dr. Lee has handed me 3 photographs. I guess we should go ahead and mark them as court's next one.
54.
Thank you. I'll place a P54. I'm sorry,
Equally.
C54
Okay.
on the back. This is the second of those 3, C55. And the third, C56, with the court's permission.
Yes.
Dr. Lee, were all those photos taken at the same time as this photograph?
Maybe. I don't remember.
You indicated on direct examination that you opened the package one time, correct?
Yes.
And then you repackaged it.
Right.
So all the photos would have to be taken at the same time, Doctor.
Maybe.
Explain that for me.
It cannot take all the pictures same time. Maybe a different sequence.
Okay, I didn't ask you about the sequence. I'm asking, do you understand what I mean when I say at the same time?
Same time.
Same time frame.
Same time frame. Maybe. Yes. That's much correct.
Okay, so you thought that I meant that all 4 pictures were taken with 4
Same
different
time.
cameras, literally
No, one
flashing
camera
at the
you
same
can.
time.
Yes.
Is that what you thought?
Right.
Okay. Where's the packet? Oh. And those are the only 4 pictures? Okay. You've separated 2 more photographs, and it's relatively obvious that these 2 are the packaged items of evidence that you sent the crime lab, correct?
Yes.
Okay, everything else in this packet was photographed at the scene, correct? Supposedly.
I don't remember exactly every one, so I have to look at it, compare to my negative to make sure. I think the majority, I just look through, looks like majority, it's there. Maybe you can help me out, which one?
What was the reason for photographing this item?
Because I was on a trip, I want to make sure my sergeant, my former sergeant, my assistant now send it to the crime lab, but I did not directly send it to him. One of my assistant sent to the Federal Express.
Did you, well,
I did not take the package to Federal Express.
actually, I'm talking about this.
Right, that's why I want to photograph before putting the Federal Express.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did you send this in Federal Express?
No, the carpet. I don't know. I did not send it.
Dr. Lee, the carpet's sitting on the witness stand in front of you.
Oh, I'm sorry. The package material. This one I took when I opened it up.
Why did you, back to my question, why did you take pictures of that carpet?
I just want to make sure nobody put something in the carpet, which I don't know.
Okay. And then what did you do with the carpet after you photographed it?
I wrapped it in a piece of white paper. I mean, this, what you call a biohazard bag.
Okay. And that would be the proper procedure for doing something like that, correct?
If I have the bag.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yep, I have the bag.
And certainly they don't make Post-it notes that big, correct?
No.
Dr. Lee, what did you do with that item of evidence after you packaged it in the biohazard bag?
Just leave it
And where did it go?
in my home.
In your house?
Yes.
Not at the lab?
No.
Don't you have a forensic crime lab?
That's state police forensic crime laboratory. This is a private consultation.
All right.
I
So
cannot put in the state lab.
for all your private consultations, for instance, like the one in this case, where you're privately consulting with the defense in this case, all of those items of evidence are kept in your home?
Yes,
Is there a place in your home that you have designated for pieces of forensic evidence?
yes.
Can you describe that for me, please?
I have a study, I have a laboratory in my house.
Okay. And that item would have been placed alongside the two carpet fibers, the two threads, as well as the blood stain that you collected in the Post-it notes, correct?
No, that should be in my case jacket.
Okay. In your
Yes.
home also?
Yeah, in my home, it's going to be on my bookshelf.
All right. So you had all three of those items together in your home, not necessarily sitting on top of each other, but together in your home at the same time, correct? And you were informed that you were to turn over, there was a court order to turn over all items of physical evidence in your possession, weren't you?
Who informed me?
Why don't you tell me?
I don't know. You said you informed me. I did not.
Let me ask
see
you. Let me ask it this way. Let me ask it this way. Were you aware that this court, Judge Fidler, made a specific court order that all items of potential evidence, physical potential evidence, were to be turned over to the prosecution immediately or forthwith by the defense? Were you ever informed of that?
I did not receive. When I received the information, I mailed it right away.
Why didn't you mail the carpet?
Nobody asked for the carpet.
So you didn't mail anything that you
I did
asked-
not collect this.
I understand that.
I don't want this.
But you possessed it, didn't you?
It's just sent to me. I have no choice.
Then why didn't you send it with the other two items of evidence? Why didn't you overnight it like you did the carpet fiber, the blood stain, and the white threads?
Did I bring that with me today?
I didn't ask you that, Dr. Lee. Answer my question, please.
Answer the question. I only sent what I collected. I did not collect this.
Were you told by either Ms. Bodden or anybody else on the defense team that there was a court order that you were to divest yourself of all physical evidence in this case? Were you told that or not?
I was told whatever I collected. So I sent what I collected.
In the packet of material that you just were able to look at. By the way, did you do any kind of analysis on the carpet before you repackaged it?
No,
Did you do any kind of measurements or taking fibers off the carpet, anything like that?
no.
Okay. Take a look at this item. I'll have you take a better look because that's a little bit overexposed. May I approach the witness? Your Honor, I might as well mark this as the court's next in order. Do you recognize that the ruler in that picture?
Yes,
Whose ruler is that?
mine.
When did you lay that ruler down by that particular blood stain and photograph it?
When I open the package,
I thought you just said that you didn't do any kind of measurements, analysis, or anything else on that fiber.
I did not measure. I just put my ruler there.
All right. Was this picture taken in Connecticut, at your lab or at your
Yes.
home, or was this taken
In my
at,
home. In my home.
I'm sorry, not at the scene?
No,
Okay. Yet there are other photographs that you submitted to the prosecution that have the same type of ruler next to the same blood stain, correct?
yes.
Did you make a note in a log or in your case file or anything like that about the exact date that you received this carpet swatch from Stan White?
No,
Is there any reason why you wouldn't note that if you received a piece of physical evidence from a defense investigator in a homicide investigation from the crime scene purportedly, why you wouldn't put that in your notes, your case file or something like that?
because I have a Federal Express delivery.
Do you have that with you?
No,
So that's not in your case file either.
no.
Where's that, Dr. Lee?
Somebody received it. Must be one of my assistants. Received that. I did not receive Federal Express package myself.
Are your assistants trained, Dr. Lee, that when they receive an item of potential forensic evidence, that they are supposed to document when it comes in and maybe even photograph that item of evidence?
This evidence being examined, so many people being looked at it, abundant at the scene, I don't consider have any evidential value.
Okay, that's not at all.
Being examined by so many people, so many hours, and abundant at the scene.
Dr. Lee, what I asked you was, do you have in place any kind of protocol at your lab or any other place that an assistant is supposed to log or document when you receive an item of potential evidence in any case?
As I indicate, I wasn't there when they received this package.
Do you have in place any training or a procedure or protocol
No.
for your assistants to document this kind of evidence?
No,
The state police do, though, don't they?
the state police does. That's a private case.
Right, right. And those these private cases are handled a lot more sloppily than the state police cases, aren't they?
It's not sloppy. Sloppy is if somebody left at the scene on the street for 3 months, what's the value to document everything? I already left in there for that period of time.
Did you just say, what's the value of documenting everything?
No, I did not say. I said this particular piece of evidence being kept at somebody's house in a Macy's parking, the Macy's shopping bag.
Doctor, my question is, did you just say, did I hear you correctly? Did you just say, what's the value of documenting everything?
No, I did not say
You didn't
that.
just say that.
I did not say. I said this particular piece of evidence.
Okay. Maybe I'm hearing things. How did you collect the blood stain that the prosecution finally did get? I think it's, here we go. I'm sorry, Dr. Lee. I'm all thumbs today. You'll forgive me. Now I forgot what I was going to ask you. It worked.
How did I collect that?
There you go. Thank you. How is it that you collected this item specifically?
I use a tweezer, gently scraping the surface and get it in.
All right. Was it still liquid form?
No,
It was already dry?
cross.
When you collected it, was it already in the form that it's here now? In other words, broken up and kind of crusty and flaky? Or was it collected kind of in one large piece?
Once I start collecting it, start flick it up.
How did you collect these items?
I use a tweezer to pick it up from the bloodstain.
I'm sorry, was it what?
I use a tweezer
Did we get
pick them up
And what's
from the bloodstain.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
The last one was bloodstain. It's the ones you use the tweezers to pick it up, and then something bloodstain.
From the bloodstain.
From the bloodstain.
From the bloodstain. Thank you.
Is that right, Dr.
Yes.
From the bloodstain.
Thank
All right. These items you described as white thread-like items in your notes, correct?
Yes,
Why do they look black?
because aged so many years go by.
Okay, so what caused them to turn, in your opinion, what caused them to turn a completely different color
The
from
blood
white?
start from the reddish color, or because the aging, they turn to brownish. It's not black because the lighting.
Okay. Your Honor, this is People 41, and since this is a court's inquiry, may I approach?
Yes.
So kind of the court wishes to look at that more closely. It's kind of a bad overhead. Is it your testimony, Dr. Lee, that these two items are the white thread-like items that you recovered from the blood stain in the foyer area?
Yes,
All right.
Let me ask a question while I have this.
Absolutely.
Were they in pieces the way it appears in this photograph?
the two pieces, Your Honor, this one
Top
and
piece?
that one. No, that's, yeah, this two, actually.
Okay.
Both inside the blood.
All right.
The blood stand at the scene.
All right.
So I have to use tweezer, take them out from the blood. So this white thread is actually covered with blood stain,
Okay.
which in my note. The little red thing, those are carpet fiber with some blood. In the middle,
Okay.
that's the carpet fiber.
All right. And these went into some form of a paper bindle?
Yes.
All right.
Thank
all
you,
I
Your
have.
Honor.
Thank you.
Along with your packaging materials or your processing materials, I think you said you had the phenolphthalein, you had little tubes that the phenolphthalein swabs go in.
Hydrogen peroxide.
You had gloves with you.
Yes.
You had a magnifying glass.
Yes.
You had tweezers.
Yes.
Do you have that fancy little flashlight thing that you've got? The little UV light that you showed me at the crime lab? Do you have that with you?
Maybe.
All right. And that tube that you had with you was a sterilized tube, correct?
Well, I purchased, so I don't know. I assume this part.
Okay. You got to assume it's somewhat of a sterilized tube. All right. Sufficient for collecting evidence.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it's designed for.
Yes.
Did you see anywhere at any time at that crime scene something that could be described as a small white object that was flat with uneven edges?
No.
Did you pick anything up with tweezers that could be reasonably described as a small white object, flat in shape with uneven edges?
No.
At any point that you were in the foyer area, was Miss Kaplan in that same area with you?
Not all the time.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
She was in and out,
I did not pay too much attention on what other people does.
and you were in and out as well.
I'm concentrated most of the time in the foyer area.
All right. At any point, did you put anything that could reasonably be described as a small white object, flat in shape, with uneven edges, into a test tube or some kind of a vial of sorts?
The only thing I can think about it is the Q-tip I put in the vial.
All right. Is it your testimony that Ms. Kaplan would have only seen you utilizing the presumptive blood test tube and nothing else?
That's all I did.
You never had any other kind of a vial with you?
No.
You never had any other kind of a test tube or anything that could reasonably be described as an opaque thing with a little cap on the top?
No.
And you never put anything in it like that?
No.
So if Ms. Kaplan testified that she watched you pick a small white object up that was flat with uneven edges and drop it into a test tube, she would be incorrect?
I think it's incorrect. You have to ask her.
While you were at the scene, you indicated that you did utilize those phenolphthalein presumptive test swabs to test the west paneled wall, correct?
Correct.
All right. What do you consider to be the west wall in that foyer area?
If you face the door, on your left-hand side, those have chair, mirror, that's east side.
Okay.
On your right-hand side, that's west side.
All right. So the west wall would actually, if you're climbing up the stairs to go to the second floor, the west wall would be to your right,
To your left.
to my left.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the wall to my right? If I'm climbing up the stairs.
You're climbing up. Now that's the west-west wall.
Okay, so there's a west wall and a west-west wall.
Yes.
All right. Is the west wall the one that you described as having the wood paneling on it?
Yes,
Okay, and the west-west wall would be the one with the white paint on it,
that's correct.
to the right if you're climbing up the stairs.
Yes.
Did you see any item of potential forensic evidence on the white west-west wall?
No.
Visually, I think you indicated in direct examination that you did not see any blood on the wood paneled wall either, correct?
Correct.
The only blood that you saw, other than that, let's leave the carpet out of it, okay, Dr. Lee? For our purposes, let's leave that carpet out of it for the time being. The only blood that you saw was on the staircase, not on the carpeted portion of it, but on a wood portion just beneath the roll of the banister. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And did that blood appear to be directly underneath the roll of that banister?
No.
Okay. Where was the blood that you saw on the staircase?
You have the picture put on the
I can get it.
ammo.
I think Mr. Ford showed you. Well, let me ask you this. The photograph that the court was looking at just a second ago, would you agree with me, Dr. Lee, and I'm, forget this one for a second before I move on, that photograph right there, would you agree with me that nothing in that photograph looks like a small white object that's flat in shape with uneven edges?
I don't know what she described. You have to ask her.
Doesn't look
It's
anything
on
like
even
that.
edge. It's on even edge.
Nothing
It's
in there
flat.
looks.
No, it's on even edge. These two symbols are even.
Okay, would you describe those items as a flat white object with uneven edges?
No, I described this thread-like material.
Right. So it would not be described as a flat white object with uneven edges.
I don't know what she ate.
No. By you.
You ask me, no, I did not describe it.
All right, back to this photograph real quick. Do you have the laser pointer up there, Doctor?
Yes, I do.
Show me where the blood is that you.
One is here, around this area.
For the record, Your Honor, first bottom right portion of this photograph appears to show the first and second steps of the staircase leading up to the second floor kind of landing. The doctor was just pointing to the first step, the wooden portion not covered by the carpet.
Correct.
All right, and
Actually, you have a close-up picture. I took one close-up much better
Okay.
than this one.
which close-up is that? Is that this?
No, the one before that.
Okay.
They actually show both steps.
This
Yeah,
photograph?
that's right.
Does that have a number?
Your Honor, it doesn't, and
We've marked it before, but I'll try to find it. It's the one with his shoes in there.
it is the one with the shoes in there,
So
so
it's been marked somewhere.
it has. For our purposes, it's already been marked. All right, where in this photograph?
One in this location.
All right.
Second in this location.
So there were two drops of blood or blood stains that you saw, correct?
We cannot call it a drop. It's a small blood stain.
Okay. Which one did you collect?
I collect the second step near here.
Was that the larger of the two stains?
Yes.
Why didn't you collect the smaller one?
Why?
I'm just asking. Why?
Too small.
It,
Difficult to collect.
but not impossible.
Well, why this crazy people don't collect it? Don't ask me. You're not.
Well, Dr. Lee, the crime scene.
I did not collect.
The crime scene people aren't on the stand. You're on the stand. And I'm asking you.
I did not collect it.
Okay.
I made a decision. I
I'm-
did not collect it.
Very well aware that you didn't collect it.
Yes.
Now I'd like you to tell the court why you didn't collect it. Why did you decide that it was not worth your time or effort to collect that stain?
I just collect one. That's enough for DNA analysis.
Okay, so all you were interested in was DNA?
To give it one, just do a phenolsaline test. It may indicate that could be blood, but you have to confirm it.
Okay,
It's not enough to confirm. It's academic.
all right. So you collected the upper stain, correct?
Yes.
And you did not collect, but you photographed the lower stain, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is that the best photograph that you got of the lower stain?
No, you have a better photograph.
Okay. Actually, I don't know if we do or not, but I want you to show it to me if we do. before I mark these and waste another court's exhibit.
This is 1, this is 2.
Okay, I'd like you to, then I'll put these on the overhead so we can follow along. Okay, I've put one of the photographs that it's already been marked, Your Honor. I won't remark it, as a matter of fact. This one, I find the number, it's court's 20, is that 25 or 26?
25.
25. Can you point for the court where you documented that bloodstain?
This is the first step. I noticed a fresh cut. This fresh cut looks somebody sampled this area. I assume must be Los Angeles Sheriff Department, somebody collect a sample. So I noticed next to it, I tested, it's positive because it's two so close. One, if they already collected, I don't have to collect them.
All right, so that stain had no evidentiary value to you necessarily at that time, so you didn't collect it.
Yes.
All right, all you did was make this photo, take this photograph, and you moved on.
Yeah.
All right. The other stain, is it safe to say that stain, and you can go ahead and point to it for the court, Your Honor, this is,
Also on the bigger picture.
I don't know what number it is, but I know this has been marked as well.
It has.
Where's the blood stain in that photograph?
Here.
All right, the right, almost bullseye, dead middle, correct?
Yeah.
Why was it important to collect that stain as opposed to the other one?
Because I did not see any cut, saw somebody collect this. So I collected.
Okay. So the reason that, well, I'll withdraw that. That top stain is what we got in posting, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that this appears to be a cut, correct?
Appeared to be a cut.
Right. That would be an important piece of information, certainly to document in your notes. Is that right?
Yeah. Not really that important. I see a lot of cuts.
You did see other cuts, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
And you photographed those other cuts?
Yes.
You documented those other cuts very, very precisely?
As much I can do. I only one man have to do the note, take the measurement, do the photograph. I did whatever I can do.
It's a tough job, isn't it, Dr. Lay?
It's a tough job.
All right. I'll take your word for it. Notwithstanding how tough the job is, you took this job and you were going to be paid by the defense, correct?
Maybe.
Okay. You didn't expect that you were going to come out here for free, did you?
Well, I go a lot of time go for free.
I didn't ask you if you do it a lot of times. I asked you in this case, did you think you were coming out here for free?
Maybe.
Yeah. Didn't turn out that way, did it?
I haven't charged him yet this time.
I'm sorry?
I haven't charged him yet this time. This trip, I don't know.
Oh, you mean this trip?
Yeah.
You mean sitting here right now?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know I'm court witness or defense witness or prosecution witness.
Court's witness.
Court witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. In those notes that you took, you were very clear to note certain of the wood cuts that you found at or around the wood paneling and other places and wood fragments and stuff, because you figured that that might have some evidentiary value, or at least you wanted to note those things, correct?
That's what I see. I noted it.
Okay. And anytime you see a cut or something like that, you're going to make a note of that.
If it's fresh, looks like fresh to me.
Okay. As long as it's fresh, you're going to make a note of it.
Yes.
All right. And in fact, in your notes, you indicated that there were, and I'm going to quote you for a second, several areas on wood panel, west side, were found, fresh cut, period. Correct?
Yes.
Right. This, putting one side by side to the next, on the, well, you know what, that's a little bit confusing. Let's do it this way. It's a glossy photo, Judge, I'm sorry, but I'll give you the original. Sorry. Oh, there you go. May I mark Sudi Sahab as people's next in order?
I'll note your highly technical solution to the problem.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, for your edification, I believe this is already, I think this has already been marked.
Yes.
Okay. I don't need to remark it. This appears to be the,
45.
thank you. This appears to be the bottom portion that Dr. Lee testified earlier was the molding, and then a place just above the molding that was fresh cut. that's what you were noting in your notes when you said fresh cut, because that was important.
Whatever I noted, I write it down.
Okay, so anything that you would have noted of this nature, you would have written down.
I don't know how important it is, but
Okay.
I write it down.
But anything of this nature, you would have written down, just like you wrote down in this particular instance.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, you went even further. I think you said you had 2 pages of notes and 1 diagram. And on the diagram, you even wrote the word cuts next to your little hand drawing of the wood paneling. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. And you even indicated little circular, like almost oval little things to denote the wood cuts, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Show the court, if you wouldn't mind, where you noted in your handwritten notes or on the diagram this fresh wood cut.
I did not write it down.
I'm sorry?
I did not write it down.
Well, did you write it in your diagram?
No.
Didn't you just testify that it would be important?
I did
write-
not say important. I say this was a cut. I did not collect that. I swap it.
Okay. I won't put words in your mouth. Didn't you just testify that you wrote down every place that you found a fresh cut on that wood paneling or the surrounding area to denote where those fresh cuts were in your notes?
I did not write it down.
Is there a reason why you didn't?
No reason I forgot to write it down.
Could it be, Dr. Lee, that that's not a fresh cut, but rather a small white object with uneven edges, flattened shape that's
No,
sitting on
it's a
top
cut.
of the stair?
It's a cut.
You're sure about that?
I'm sure about it.
Do these 2 items look similar, Dr. Lee?
It's a cut. Every cut, it's not going to be similar.
You took
Tell me
clear-
somebody cut.
You answered
If
my question.
he may not have answered the question. Let him finish his answer. Go ahead, sir.
Each cut may have different direction, different force. You cannot find 2 cuts are similar.
So of course, with this cut, in your packet of photographs, you took minimum of 4 different photographs of this, correct?
No, they're other cut. Different cut. That's a different cut.
Dr. Lee, do you recognize these 4 photographs?
Yes.
What are these photographs of?
This photograph represent 2 different cuts.
All right. Is one of them the cut as you put it on the left?
Yes.
All right. What about the second photograph in my left hand?
You are mixed 2 together. Hold on a second. Let me help you sort it out.
Oh, I don't know that I need that much help, Doctor.
You definitely need that. Here. Everybody. This is a different cut in different location.
You're holding up a picture on the paneled wall, correct?
You give it to me. That's
Okay.
yeah.
And for the court's,
That's a different than what I show in the.
The picture that you just handed me, is that the one on the left?
No,
It's not. Is it the one on the right?
no,
It's another one.
another one.
Okay.
I'm going to first. Exactly. Lee, on this wood paneled wall, there were 3 separate cuts, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you point to the court where they are?
Here one.
That's one, and that's the picture that you just showed, the close-up that you just showed the court, correct?
Right.
So you took this photograph to
Right.
document those 3 cuts as an overview, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And then you took close-ups of that cut on the top.
Right.
A couple of different close-ups, correct?
Just one.
Okay. What about the cuts on the bottom?
And cut here,
And then the one on the molding?
one on the molding.
Okay, so
So I
that's-
took 2 pictures of this.
All right. As a matter of fact, you took a second overview picture as well. So not just one overview picture, you took a second overview picture.
That, no. This is demonstrate different point. The carpet, that shows the carpet.
It shows the same wall, but you're using it for different purposes. Is that?
Thank you, Ron.
All right.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
And then you took close-ups of the cut higher up on the wall, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you took a close-up of the one where the molding and the one just above the molding is, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you took a second one without the ruler of the molding and the one just above the molding.
This one is basically put the cut in the center. The other one put the molding more in the center.
Okay. And then this one is yet another photograph of those bottom 2 cuts, correct?
Shows now the carpet area.
Okay, so you weren't trying to show the bottom two the bottom two cuts at this location. That's not what you were trying to show with that photograph?
Yes.
Even though those two cuts appear, almost dead center in the photograph, correct?
No. That's the camera angle is from this side.
Right.
That center should be 90 degrees.
Okay,
So this cup is become a circle now
right,
because oblique angle.
right.
Basically, I try to show the carpet.
And the whole point was to take these photographs from different angles, different lighting conditions, just like you explained, because those cuts can look differently depending on the light and the angle and the distance from which you're taking the photograph. Isn't that right, Dr. Lee?
No, I said the purpose of taking this picture, I try to show the carpet. Just happened the cup in the photograph.
Oh, so that photograph isn't of the wood chips in that picture. You're actually photographing the carpet.
Both.
Dr. Lee, you took several different photographs of the cuts that you noted in your notes, right?
Yes.
And you took them from different angles, didn't you?
No.
Well,
As I say, this picture, the purpose I want to show this carpet area relative clean. I want to show this carpet area.
is it important to take, because you said lighting conditions can differ, is it important to take several different photographs or several different angles to make sure that you can document, if you're ever asked in the future, what something looks like in a picture, correct?
I already document.
Yes or no? Is that a good way to forensically document something through photographs? Take different angles.
Not really necessarily. You certain angle you cannot take. You just take whatever angle you can take.
And of course, in this case, where the cuts were, you took several different photographs of those cuts, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where this cut is, as you say, that's the only photograph, the only one that you took of this particular object, isn't it?
I have two, another one.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. How about different close-ups?
No.
Just this one.
Yes.
Did you do any presumptive testing on either of the bloodstains on those bottom stairways? Bottom
Either
stairs, I should say.
bottom stair?
Any presumptive testing on either one of those bloodstains?
Yes.
Either the one you collected or the one you didn't collect?
Yes.
Which one or both?
Both.
Okay. And you said, I think you said at one point that one was a positive and one was a weak positive or something?
No, these both are positive.
Okay,
The
well-
weak positive is some panel,
The wood paneling,
wood panel.
where you saw no blood.
No.
Okay.
I did not visibly see a blood drop.
Well, is there any other way to see something than visibly?
If I bring in my crime scene light sources, may be able to do that.
Okay, but visibly you didn't see anything. You saw no blood on that wall.
I did not.
Okay. And I guess it goes without saying, based on that answer, well, you don't like when I say that to you, Judge. Can I assume that you didn't collect any blood off that west family wall?
No, I did not call.
May I have just a moment? Judge, that's all I have.
All right. May the witness step down?
Yeah.
No,
All right. Thank you for being here. You may step down.
No, what I'm going to do with this? I don't want to be accused.
I have a member of the, if she agrees, I have a member of the crime lab who's actually here. If she would agree to take custody, I simply need to ask her.
Ms. Harrell, will you take, Dr. Harrell, I'm sorry, would you take custody of that?
Yes, I actually brought lab receipts with me. Possibly would be seeing photographic negatives, which we also received. So
All right.
I can receipt it and give you a copy.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I can't see your.
You can receipt it and give us a copy,
I can receipt it for
okay?
that I'm taking custody of it.
Fine. Counsel, do you stipulate that do we have a number, any exhibit that you want released? If you'll give me the number, we'll release it by stipulation to the crime lab. They'll keep it in their custody to be brought to court if necessary.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, that's Exhibit 51.
That, I think at 51 is the,
Right.
yes.
And we're not agreeing that it's necessarily evidence or has evidence.
I'm not asking you to. I'm simply saying that it's been marked as an exhibit. The exhibit is being released to the crime lab, the sheriff's crime lab, to keep in their custody.
That's fine.
And Anything else? I don't
Yes.
think the negatives were not marked, were they?
They weren't, but that was the next point I was going to bring up. There is some value to our maintaining the negatives, at least, or taking custody of negatives for certain analysis. And I understand Mr. Plord has an objection to certain of the negatives being possibly attorney work product or attorney-client privilege, and I'm not interested in those. He can cut those off.
All you need to do, since they haven't been marked as an exhibit, you agree among yourselves, which apparently is not a problem.
Yeah, we don't necessarily think they're discoverable. They looked at them. If they want to look at the ones of the pictures that we have, that's fine. We'll just sit down and we'll parcel them up, and as long as they agree to get them back,
Absolutely.
Dr. Lee within a reasonable.
All right,
Absolutely.
that's fine. All right, may this witness now step down.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
he has his original notes that they've looked at too, and they have not been marked either, but they've looked at them. I don't know that there's any issues there.
The only thing I'd like to do with Dr. Lee's notes with his permission and the court's permission is to scan them. I've got a photocopy. It's very, very hard to read. I do have a scanner upstairs.
There shouldn't be any problem.
No problem with that.
Okay,
All right.
before he leaves. I'll do
Anything
that.
else?
No, that's it.
Thank you for being here. You may step down, Doctor. All right. All right. Do you plan, does either side plan on calling any other witness in this matter?
Yeah, we're planning on calling Sarah Kaplan back,
Fine.
Your Honor.
All right. Was that at a different date?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we're following up on some things. And
That's fine.
now, it may turn out we decide not to, but at this point, we're planning on doing it.
That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. So is there anything else we can do then as concerns this hearing, since apparently it's going to be put over for possible further testimony?
No, Your Honor, not at this time, not from the people.
The only thing I would like to address is the release of,
Yes, I have that right in front of me, and this is the perfect time to discuss it.
thank you.
You have filed a motion in support for release of biological material for independent testing. I have read and considered your motion. I don't believe the people have filed a written opposition.
That's correct. We have not.
All right? Do you have anything you wish to add to your written motion?
The only that we want to make sure that at least the record is clear, that the seminal case of Meredith is that basically the law enforcement has an opportunity to collect stuff and you can't interfere with that. And if they miss something like a gun or whatever that they basically didn't collect or have the opportunity to collect, you have to turn that over. This is all stuff that they reviewed, they just chose not to collect. But we don't even have to get to that issue with this particular item of evidence. It can be split, you can do multiple tests on it. We just want to do a DNA test so that there's never going to be a question that biologically what appears to be blood that presumptively tested positive for blood can be DNA identified as to coming from Lana Clarkson. That's really our whole purpose. We're not going to destroy the entire exhibit. We think there's enough DNA in that sample for multiple tests. For some reason, they're not moving forward with it, and we want to do it. We want to get that started so it doesn't cause a delay later on. And we think that can be done quickly, in 2 or 3 weeks, but it does take, most laboratories don't do short order type stuff within 10 days. You got to get in line, and we want to get this in line to a laboratory to get it tested.
I mean, once again, CSI with its immediate DNA testing is not accurate?
Not true whatsoever.
I'm shocked. All right. Mr. Jackson.
Your Honor, now that we've been waiting a long time to get those negatives, I think there is some reasonable analysis that needs to be done utilizing those. We're not trying to stall. We certainly have no objection at some point to defense seeking to do whatever DNA analysis they do, or more likely, we will do the DNA analysis with their expert in tow. But before that's done, before any of it is consumed, which some of it will be consumed, not necessarily all of it, there are some structural analyses that we need to do of what we received from Dr. Lee. We couldn't really do that until we get these negatives.
There's two different issues as it's being presented to me. Mr. Plord is telling me you can do a split, and they just need to be given the split so that they can analyze their evidence. You're telling me it can or cannot be split.
That as it sits now, some of the potential evidentiary value is how those, to use Dr. Lee's words, those crumbs are broken up. There is some structural analysis, basically, to putting those back together.
Once your structural analysis is complete, are you able to split it?
Absolutely. I think so. I think there's enough there to split.
Don't talk, Dr. Harold, just you can consult with.
Yeah, I think there is, and if there's not, then I will
Then
accommodate.
we have a different issue.
We do, and I will accommodate Mr. Plord in possibly we do the test and he has his DNA analyst there to either watch the protocol or review the results or whatever. I mean, it's done all the time, so.
I'm very familiar with that particular issue because I just dealt with it in a capital case. But
Okay.
the only question right now, Mr. Plord, as I understand it, is when assuming that it can be split, is when you get it. Okay. Well, the people have made a showing as to why they need to do something with it before they release it to you, if it can be released. So as long as they move with all due haste, that's fine.
I understand that what they're saying. They've had the material for well over 6 months. I think if the court gives them a reasonable deadline, we'll get it done.
How much time do you believe you need to do your structural analysis before we reach the next stage?
Excuse me.
There will be a momentary consultation with Dr. Harrow.
Dr. Harold just indicated it would take days. I asked her more specifically how many days. She said probably 2 weeks.
All right, I will give you, in an abundance of caution, 20 days
Okay,
to get that done and report back to me.
fine.
If once you do it, you can provide a split
Absolutely.
to the defense. I don't need to be involved. If you do not have enough to do a split, then you come back into court and I'll deal with that issue.
Yeah, I'd like to have a 10 days, Your Honor, simply because once we get it to a laboratory,
I understand your need. They're giving me 14 days. 2 weeks is 14 days. I've given them a short additional amount of time just to be on the safe side before everybody's back here. So the difference in days is not going to make it, for me, a problem at this point. We'll see where we stand after the structural analysis is complete. If it's completed before and there's material for split, you're to turn it over then forthwith.
No problem.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right?
I understand.
9:30 on Monday morning. Thank you.
We're getting over.
Thank you. Thank you. You as well.